On this week's episode of the Vero Beach Social Media Pop-Up Podcast, we talk to Erica Arsenault, the founder of The Rising. We talk all things motherhood, how Instagram has helped boost her business, and Curtis learns what a doula is. Give it a listen. You're going to love it. I guarantee it. Here we go. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Vero Beach Social Media Pop-Up Podcast. I am here with Erica Arsenault from The Rising.
Yes, sir.
All right. How are you today?
I'm well.
You couldn't beat the weather.
It's gorgeous. I'm like, you want to start talking about the weather?
I do.
We're going to go there.
The best part is right before this started, we were talking about awkward pauses and if we talk over each other. And within 5 seconds it happened.
Yeah. We're like, we could just go to the weather.
Yeah. Let's go to the weather. It is actually a perfect day. This comes out on, I don't know, like the 20th or something like that. But today is January the 5th. So if you're listening to this and you see it's raining, it's not today. It is gorgeous. So how are you?
I'm well.
So you are the founder of The Rising?
Founder and owner.
Founder and owner. I was going to ask, what's your position with that? All right. So we do a lot of these podcasts. A lot of times they're clients, they're people that I know. Every now and then someone will reach out and say, hey, you've got a really cool podcast. I'd like to be on it.
Yeah.
99% of the time I'm like, nah. And so you wrote to us and said, this is a cool podcast. And I looked at The Rising and I'm like, I know nothing about what you do. You have to be on the podcast.
Yeah. Well, you know what you said first. I'm going to call you out now. Okay. You said something about like, well, we're looking for for-profit businesses. And I was like, I am a for-profit business. Because I know I come across as a nonprofit.
I did assume.
Happens all the time.
I assumed, which you know what happens when you assume, that you are a not-for-profit. But you are a for-profit.
For-profit.
And you're going to tell the listeners now, and me, for the first time, what the hell do you do?
I would love to.
Let's hear it.
Okay, basically, I'm going to tell you who we serve first. That's the easiest way. If you are pregnant, looking to become pregnant in our county, you're going to come see us. So we are the Motherhood Center, the only hub for expecting women in our county. I know this because I had a baby here 4 years ago, and it was like kind of piecing together, okay, well, here's where your pediatrician is, and they don't directly work with your chiropractor, but you could go find them, and they don't always have a website. A lot of people in service-based businesses are not great with social media. You can reach out to them, please. But it was really to bring all of these providers together because it is extremely overwhelming when you're pregnant to most of the time be working a full-time job, growing a baby, not feeling your best, and also try to piece together how to do life with a newborn, how to give birth, how to do all of these things. We're really here to simplify it. That's my nutshell of
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So we have a 7-month-old, my wife and I, and I'm wishing we had done this podcast about 9 months ago or 10 months ago, and she could have come and seen you, and instead of us trying to figure out who to go to and where to go and all that.
Yeah.
It sounds like you could have taken care of that for us.
I hope so. So we serve, although she can come to Mommy and Me classes now. So you still come see us. But the idea is the sooner that you can come see The Rising, the better. We have a complimentary consult. We have a really great provider's guide. So it's like a full rundown of who to see in the county or tri-county area. And we have birth doulas who support you during birth. We do the private childbirth education for you. It's just really all in one. If we don't have it on our team, we have a direct referral for you.
So you used the word that I couldn't spell if you gave me the first 4 letters. What is a doula?
A doula. Well, if you had the first 4, you just add an A.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that.
You got a doula. Yeah. So a doula is meant to support a mother in childbirth before, during, after childbirth. They are very specifically for the mother. So if you have a midwife or an OB, they are on the clinical side and they are for mother, of course, but also mostly for the baby. They are paying attention to vitals and making sure everyone is physically safe. A doula is going to be your information. So they're giving you all the education that you need. They are an advocate for you. So when you are in labor, as I'm sure you witnessed, it's not the time. It's not the time that you can be answering questions, standing up for yourself and your goals in birth. So a doula is there for that. We do physical support in comfort measures. We are hands-on, and then I love to say that we are most importantly there for the partners of the mom, because it's very intimidating to go into a space to see your wife in pain it's productive pain, but it's still pain, and not know what to do. And, most dads specifically are like, I will do anything. I'm here willing and able, but I don't know where I fit, and everything's moving so quickly, especially in a hospital setting. It's a lot to navigate their procedures and protocols and what's allowed. Everything's allowed, by the way. And all of that. So having a doula there is your kind of go-to, like, birth coach, cheerleader, advocate, best friend, all in that space.
It's funny you mentioned what's allowed and what's not. So my baby was born May 19th, and it was a pretty easy, quick, simple process. I have two boys that are 12 and 13, but the baby was born, and I wanted to take pictures, but I didn't know if I was allowed to. And the doctor
take pictures
actually
of your own
said,
baby. I know.
And the doctor actually said, "Hey, she's over there. If you want to go take pictures of the baby, you're welcome to." She's like, "I didn't know."
Yeah.
See,
it's
you
scary.
would have helped.
I mean, and there is something called white coat syndrome, which we talk about a lot. It can raise your blood pressure, which is not beneficial to labor. And you want everyone to be in this safe, nurturing environment. You want your baby to arrive into that environment. And that's, again, why you have a doula, to navigate all those things. So you take out your camera, you peek at me, and I go, yeah, go. You're the dad. Take as many pictures of that baby as you want. Feel your camera roll.
So again, I'd never really heard of this. Is this a new thing, doulas? Is this... talk to me about how long this has been around.
How long you got?
Well, we've got, let's see, there's 6 hours left on this memory card. So you can talk for 6 hours if you want.
Okay, so I can give you like the short version.
Okay, yeah, elevator pitch.
I'll give you the short version. So basically doulas and midwives, traditional midwives, are the way that women birthed forever until birth was brought into the hospital system, industrialized. It was brought into hospitals because it is a wonderful profit to hospitals. It's kind of like, what is one of these businesses that's never going to slow down? Everyone's always going to be having babies. How can we benefit from this? So all of these men came in and became obstetricians. It was a male-only field, and they slowly took over the positions of all these traditional midwives. Doulas, and doula is not even a word that has been used for that long, but doulas were traditionally the aunts and the mothers and the grandmothers and the best friends, and all the women would come to be with this mom while she's giving birth at home. Was very normal, but it was, a women's space. And then it moved into the hospital, and everything became based on protocol, procedure, mitigating risk, ensuring that liability for the hospital was very low, and very little of that is in benefit of mom when she's giving birth. So doulas have now come back into the picture to support in that role, as well as for home births, as they always have been.
Gotcha. So you have a quote, I read it somewhere, and I'm going to botch it, but it was something like, mothers don't need your opinion, they need support of their own, or something like that.
I like that better. I think I said they don't need more opinions.
More opinions.
But they don't need your opinions either. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like that's at the heart of this whole thing, is mothers naturally know what to do. My wife and I joke all the time, because she's like, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens? I'm like, kids have been born for millions of years. No, not millions, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, however many years.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out. They didn't have the TV. They didn't have the iPad. They didn't have the Binky. They didn't have the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Kid will figure it out. You'll figure it out. You're a mom. Naturally. It'll happen. It'll work out. I promise.
Oh, for sure. And there's something I read that said, like, the only thing you need for a newborn is some form of milk and a flat surface, and your baby will survive that, right? Because there's a lot that comes into it. But yeah, mothers don't need more opinions, but what we have, because everyone is selling to everyone all the time, again, is that even products are coming out. You need this product for your baby to sleep peacefully, or you need this, course to teach your baby how to sleep. And really what baby needs to sleep is knowing they're in a safe, supported place where they can go to sleep. And this goes for every single thing. Same thing with childbirth. Like you said, women have been birthing children. And this is not to say, like, it's always been a safe, sterile environment. I mean, unfortunately, babies, sometimes mothers, did not survive. So there's certainly a place for Western medicine and a hospital when needed. But what we look at is how can this be maybe not the norm, not the go-to? Every mother, every birth, every baby is so different, and we're just kind of squeezing everyone through this very narrow procedure that really doesn't benefit many.
It sounds like you're giving options. You're giving options to the mother. You don't have to do this, or if you want to do this, you can, but you can have our support in that. I'm a fan of options.
Yeah.
I like options.
Informed consent.
Informed consent. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Options.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So what got you into this?
Good question.
I got still have 6 hours.
Yeah, I'll be short on this one too. No, I became pregnant a while ago for the first time and had a miscarriage, and I knew nothing about pregnancy, birth, anything at this point. So I was walking through this industrialized system, and they're just giving me all this information, and I was like, I don't know what you're telling me. I don't understand. I mean, it feels very naive now, but I didn't even know that like you would miss a period and that would mean you're pregnant. I was quite young. So that was just a whirlwind that kind of started me off on, with the huge lack of education in general and the piecing together of information. And I was kind of Googling, like, this happened. Who do I go to for this? And it's taboo to talk about. There's not a lot of women, like, speaking about this because there's a lot of pregnancy loss. There's stillborn babies. There's women who cannot get pregnant and going through IVF treatment. And so it's a difficult topic. It's very emotionally loaded. That was my first kind of dip in. My second pregnancy was also a loss. At that point, I knew kind of what I was working with, what to do with my body, better place mentally, emotionally. And then my third, I had a baby when I lived here. So same thing. It was kind of this constant, like, there's got to be more. More resources, more support. Where do I find the other pregnant women? Like, where are they?
So it sounds like you found a void in the market. I don't want to call it a market because that makes it sound terrible.
The business side of, solving a problem.
But exactly. You're solving a problem that needs solving. So do you have a health background? Do you have a medical background? Or you just said, hey, I found a problem. I have, and listen, that's not to shoot rocks at you.
Oh, no.
I don't have a background in marketing. I don't have a degree in marketing.
Yeah.
I found a problem. I found a void in the market.
Yeah.
I said, hey, people need help with social media. And so we started this. So I'm not saying, you had to have had a background. I just am curious.
No, it's a good question. I don't. So my background is in elementary education. That's what I went to school for. I did that until my kids were born. I have 2 kids now. But I do work as a doula in my business. So I do support birth. And I had been doing that before I opened The Rising. But no, we are non-clinical, so no health background. I sometimes say it totally depends on the person. We do have doulas that have a health background. That is beneficial. They're really good at navigating the system. But it's also really great to get those who have never been in the health field because you're getting that whole new perspective and layered on.
So talk to me about the staff at The Rising. How many people do you have working with you? How many doulas? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have a team of 4 doulas, including myself. So if you come in, you want to work with a doula, you have your pick of personalities. It's super important, of course, to have someone with you when you're giving birth that you like them, you trust them, you feel safe around them. We also have a couple different instructors for prenatal, postnatal yoga, fitness, mommy and me classes, all that sort of thing. And then we have 2 private childbirth educators who work just with us outside of the hospital. And then we have 13 right now direct community providers. That's like chiropractors, acupuncturists, pelvic floor therapists, lactation consultants, midwives that we refer to directly, that we've specifically worked with, trust, would recommend to all of our clients. So it's a mixed bag.
Yeah, it sounds like there's so much to it. It really sounds like you're trying to
Feels like it.
herd cats here. It's like, man, there's a lot of different things going on for a lot of different moms and a lot of different, dads, I'm sure too are involved.
Yeah.
So walk me through this. So like I said, I wish we had done this podcast 10 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But you find out you're a mom, or you find out you're pregnant. Who do you call? Do
Great question. So you're going to call us at The Rising, or you're going to fill out our form online. And what we have you do immediately is set up that complimentary consult. So it's 45 minutes. I do all of the consults at the business. It's really important to me to meet these moms and really support them. And as I mentioned, some of these pregnancies, we have the consultation and they miscarry a couple weeks later. So we work with them through that immediately. Or if the pregnancy is healthy and going to full term, we sit down, we find out their birth goals, and this is anything from like where they're giving birth, who their doctor is. Sometimes they don't have a doctor yet. We're navigating who the best fit would be. And then we put together a timeline for them for the rest of their pregnancy. And we'll kind of fit in, it's all custom to this person. Like I said, it's not one size fits all in any capacity. So we're putting together who from our team and what resources from our team are going to best fit them. And then wherever the gaps are there, we'll pull in community providers that we work with and connect them there as well. So it's so simple that it's in this nice like 6-page PDF for them, links included. So it's like, in your 20th week of pregnancy, you're going to schedule with this person and, come have your yoga class here, and giving options.
I'm definitely a box checker. I like that idea.
Uh-huh.
Like, all right, I got a list. I just got to do this. Then I got to do this.
Yeah.
That sounds perfect to me.
Yeah.
When, and this might be kind of a loaded question, when does the mom stop using you? Like, how old is the child when they're just done?
It's a great question. So we opened just over a year ago. Our first rising baby was actually born the day after our grand opening. And she's a close personal friend of mine. So at this point, we had all of these birth services for the first year, and then we added postpartum, so after birth services. And now we're adding mommy and me classes. So at this point, we are kind of moving with those moms that we started with. So indefinitely, you work with us indefinitely.
You'll be starting like a charter high school soon for these kids
yeah.
that are being born.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. So how many mothers in the year or however long you've been open, how many mothers have you helped?
So we had 8 births. So we were present at 8 births. We had, I have to check my stats. It's posted on Instagram, The Rising Vero. But I want to say high 60s, low 70s is how many moms have come through us in some capacity, whether it was private education, into our classes, birth support. So in some way.
Yeah, so are there a lot of moms that come to you and say, hey, I need help with this one specific thing. I don't need you at the birth. I don't need any of that. I just need to know I need to know who to call for a doctor, period.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And that happens?
Very often. Multiple times a day for something specific.
So how are people finding you? So again, I'm a mom. I got pregnant. I don't know what to do. How do they find you?
So great question. Moms are and if we're talking marketing here especially, moms are very different in that they, especially when you're pregnant, you are home, you're like flipping through your phone, you have these teeny little pockets, or if you're a second or third time parent, you have even less time. So that is where Instagram specifically, because of the age group too, Facebook exists, but it's not exactly where moms are chatting right now with this age group. But on Instagram, it's this very quick share, or, we'll share some sort of education and a couple women will send it to their friend who's pregnant. We kind of say like everyone knows someone who's pregnant, and every time we pop up, we are being referred and sent because it feels almost like a gift you're giving your pregnant friend or neighbor or...
Yeah, you're definitely hitting the right platform for this demographic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would guess 20 to 40-year-old women.
Yeah.
Right? Well, yeah, they're not really on Facebook anymore.
No.
They were.
Yeah.
They're kind of going away from there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, Instagram is great because it is a word-of-mouth platform. I mean, you're right. They're sharing it with each other. Reels now has become real big. So.
Oh, I know. Well, that's what the younger moms now are telling me. Like, you should really get on TikTok. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, the demographic on TikTok is getting a little older, and I don't think it's a horrible idea to get there. But yeah, Instagram Reels is really just all they did was steal the idea from TikTok.
Yeah, I know.
That's what Zuckerberg does that with everything.
So smart.
Stories, that was a Snapchat thing.
Yep.
They stole that too. But no, I definitely think you're hitting the right platform.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only real social media channel that you're using now?
We use that for social media. I also have the Rising podcast. So the Rising podcast is not so much specifically gaining new clients or prospective clients, but it is a really good hub for ones that we already have. We are interviewing just like you are, community providers. So if they're saying, I want to work with let's say pelvic floor therapist, we have one we love. She's been on our podcast, shares the benefits of pelvic floor therapy before and after childbirth. And that's a very quick hit for them to get all the information they need, hear this person's voice, see this person's face. And that is a big thing when you're going into this vulnerable space when you're pregnant. Like I'm going to walk into an OB's office. They're going to give me a cervical exam, spread my legs. Like, it's really intimidating. It's nice to first know that someone like me and my team who are your age, we're also women, say this person will make you feel safe, supports where you are. And that podcast gives us that ability to kind of introduce them before they go visit a provider.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, we talk all the time about providing value. That's incredibly valuable, and people are listening to it that may not ever be clients of yours, but they're hearing it, they're seeing it, they know who you are now, and providing them with information prior to their birth, I think is huge. So that's great. I do want to mention that we are here at Treehouse, which is this technically Wabasso?
I think it has a Vero Beach address.
Vero?
I mean, Pam and I grew up, Pam is the owner, Pam Hunt, of Treehouse. We both grew up on the other side of the bridge, which is technically Wabasso.
Okay.
I don't know if this is technically Wabasso, but it's a palm tree farm, so it's incredible.
It is so really cool here. We're going to see if we can get some B-roll kind of the pavilion and some of the shots. But this place is really, really neat. And again, I didn't want to forget to bring this place up.
I know. I appreciate you meeting here. Pam is a young mom. Young mom and mom of a young child. So she's navigating the business and motherhood and all the things too. So
just out of curiosity, to get back on topic here, how many, do you know how many births there are in this area? I don't know, every year or something like that?
Oh, that's a good question. I do not have this statistic.
And I know I'm just like throwing that out at you, but I'm like, man, there are so many women, because I know when we were in the hospital, I think 3 or 4 rooms were full, and every day there's got to be 3, 4, 5, 6 rooms.
The math I would do is at Vero Beach High School, there's like 700 graduating every year, and same thing at Sebastian, and then there's charter, and maybe
so a couple thousand. Yeah. So, I mean, now we're getting on the business side of things. How many mothers possibly could you help?
Well, it's a good question. We're always teetering between that, like having enough doulas on our team to support the moms we have. It's, that good problem to have, which we're really rolling into in these next few months, as we are getting this huge influx of births. And after the holidays, I anticipate even more. But it's always having okay, how can we hire enough doulas to support enough moms? Right now, we could do anywhere from 12 to 14 births a month. We also want to make sure if we're on call for a birth that we're going to be there. So we are not, layering them one on top of the other. We want to make sure, if that's our client, that's who we've worked with for 9 months, they're going to see our face.
Yeah, so I've often wondered that about OBGYNs and things like that. Like, you've worked with this physician, and they walked you through the pregnancy and all that, and then all of a sudden you get to the birth, and sorry, they're on vacation. So that doesn't happen with you guys, which is great.
It does not, no. So we only take on births that we know we can attend.
Sure.
Some of my doulas, they do take a month-long vacation in December, and we just kind of black out that they can't take any clients during that time. Because that's honestly probably half of the women that come in and want a doula. That is their primary reason. I want someone I know in the room. That's the most important thing to them.
Yeah, it is bizarre. Now that I'm thinking about it in the last, 15 minutes or 20 minutes that we've been talking, I'm walking through what that process was like in the hospital. I'm like, I didn't know that person. I didn't know that person. The only person I knew in that room was one giving birth.
Yeah. And, everyone's in masks, and it's very hard to form this personal connection. And, diving a little deeper into the physiology of birth is that to release enough oxytocin naturally to birth your baby, as pain-free as possible, you want to be in that safe, nurturing space. And when there are people walking in and out and you don't know any of them, and you're in, a hospital gown, it's very uncomfortable. It's nice to have one person that you can kind of look in the eye, and she could say I'm here.
I got to go home and give my wife a hug now. Because I'm you really went through a lot.
She really did it. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So I brought you on because I wanted to learn more about this.
I appreciate it.
I think I learned an awful lot about this. Was there anything you wanted to add to this, or that you wanted to say, or?
I would just say, as I mentioned, everyone knows someone who is pregnant most of the time. So we are just such an incredible resource. And I say that not to brag for myself, because we have such a big team and such a great community of providers. They are hard to find because they don't always have websites set up, and maybe they kind of work only through referral system. We are changing that by giving them more of a platform, more visibility. So if you know someone who's pregnant, I want them to be sent to us, because that first consult is free. We give you a provider's guide to the county, which outlines every single maternal health provider. It's just a good starting point. It's free. Like, the first visit with us is free, so anyone who's pregnant could get a lot of benefit.
So is there a phone number they should call? Is there a website they should go to? Instagram?
Yes. Website or Instagram is easiest and best. I do find people don't want to call me on the phone, and that's fine, because I don't love talking on the phone. Just to be straight up.
That goes for me too.
I'd rather talk to you in person. I'm like, just come in and we'll hang out, have a tea. So therisingvero.com and The Rising Vero on Instagram.
All right.
Find us there.
Can't be hard to find.
No.
All right. Well, if you don't have anything to add, that's it. I want to thank
I appreciate it.
the Treehouse
Yes.
and Pam for having us.
Thank you, Pam.
And definitely, if you're pregnant, or what about? All right. So I was going to end it. I'm not going to end it. We're going to keep going. I do have a question.
Okay.
What if you're trying to get pregnant?
Yes. Great question. Great time to come to us.
Yeah.
The thing about a small town and having not a large amount of great providers here is that sometimes you find out you're pregnant and you call and they're not available for your due date. And then you have to go to maybe out of town or to a provider you don't love, but like, what else am I going to do? So coming to us before you're pregnant, if you know you're going to become pregnant, you can kind of lock in a doula with us. You can lock in all these providers, start calling them, seeing who has what available, see if they take your insurance. Like, there's so many steps. And then also we work with a lot of providers that work on fertility. So if you're having trouble conceiving, if you have had a pregnancy loss, I sit with a lot of women who have had a loss or trying to get pregnant. And a lot of times, again, it's really hard to find a person that you can say that to, that can say like, yeah, me too. I've done that, in my personal life. And now I can walk you through all of those steps. As a friend and a business owner, and we cry most consults. Like, you don't want to come in by yourself.
Yeah, I don't like to cry.
Yeah,
that
sit on
wouldn't
the
be my
couch,
style.
we make a tea, and we talk it through. But I do find that most women, there's not a place to go for that, and you go to a doctor's office at whatever stage you are in, conceiving or when you're pregnant, and it does feel like you're a number a lot of the time, and that's the very opposite of what we're doing.
Right. Lay down, get in the stirrups. We're going to put the thing over you. You're going to come in for 5 seconds and then you're out and you're like, is that it? Yeah.
I know.
Trust
They
me,
say,
I've seen
like,
that. Yep.
do you have any questions? And you say, what question should I have? I've never done this before, right? Like, I don't know how to be pregnant. I've never done it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. So I am going to end it. If you are pregnant, or if you're trying to get pregnant,
Or if you know someone who's pregnant.
visit
Yes.
therisingvero.com.
Yes.
Or at therisingvero on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And chat with Erica, and she will help you out.
Thank you.
Awesome. No, thank you very much.
Yeah.
And it's been a pleasure.
This is awesome.
And now I have all this wealth of information that is 7 months too late.
Can have another baby.
Oh, man, I got the hat trick. I've got 3, and I
That's
don't know.
pretty good.
Fourth
Yeah.
might just put me over the edge.
Yeah. No, go love on your wife instead.
Yeah, I am going to go give her a hug after this and be like,
Yes.
man, you really did go through a lot.
She did.
So
She did.
yeah.
Yes.
So thank you. Shout out to my wife for
What's
being
her
awesome.
name?
Stacy.
Stacy.
Yep.
Stacy.
So, shout out to
Superwoman.
Stacy, and again, thank you again for meeting me out here and being on the podcast. And
Absolutely.
that's going to do it for this episode of the Vero Beach Social Media Pop-Up Podcast from the Treehouse.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.